Howdy partners, welcome to Thumb Together, and today we're going to be talking about the new season of Westworld together. Giddy up. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Hey everybody, I'm Andrew Fantasia. Thank you for joining me on Thumb Together. As always, if you like this video, feel free to give it a like and give some love to that subscribe button so I can keep making more of them for you. I'm here today to talk to you about Westworld. Season 2 has dropped. We got our first episode last night. It's called Journey into Night. And that's what this video is going to be about. Just a quick little review of that episode and all the wonderful, mind-blowing Westworld things that happened in it. Now, it goes without saying that this is full of spoilers. I'm talking full of spoilers for this episode and spoilers for Season 1, everything. All the cards are on the table. This is au naturel, raw dogging it. Everything is out and open and unprotected. Spoilers everywhere. So, do not watch this unless you've already seen all of Westworld and you're up to date, because I'm gonna ruin shit. Now, once again, the writers of the show have gone and done a really cool thing where they have played around with time. In the first season, and again, if you've watched this far and you don't want spoilers, then that's it. You've been warned. In the first season, we had the whole reveal, the whole little bait and switch reveal where it's like, oh, who is the man in black? Well, he's actually William, and you've been watching two separate timelines the whole time. There's that thing, and it sort of happens again in this. They're setting up something very similar, except this time they tell you right off the bat, and now the fun comes from filling in the blank. The episode begins with a conversation that Bernard has with Dolores, one of their regular conversations, and it feels very flashbacky. But then we start off where Bernard is lying on a beach in the sand. He wakes up and there's all these bodies around him, and humans have come on a boat, and they're like a military strike force, and they've got like hovercrafts and ATVs, and they've come to the park, and Stubbs is with them. And now, if you remember the last time we saw Stubbs in Season 1, the Ghost Nation had surrounded him in the woods and knocked him out. So we're like, whoa, wait a minute, how did Stubbs get away from the Ghost Nation? Stubbs kind of picks Bernard off the beach, and then we get introduced to two new characters. We get introduced to a guy named Strand, who is from upper management. I can't remember the name of the guy who plays Strand, but he seems like he's kind of a dick. I mean, totally cold as far as the hosts are concerned. Rounding up the hosts, and he is shooting them, and he's like, I'm clearing this park of all of that. He's essentially coming in to do like damage control, but you can already tell this guy's got a target on his forehead, man. Somebody is going to take this dude out because he's just too mean right now. And then we have our other new human character, Costa. He's played by an actor named Fares, who was in Rogue One for like 20 seconds. He was that senator who's like, we can't do anything. I'm a senator. And he's really cool. Costa is sort of, I guess he's Strand's sort of right-hand guy. And he's helping him track down, whatever host bodies are around. And man, we get a really gory scene where he takes the CPU out of a host's brain. And we see that for the first time. And man, that is gross. There is lots of brain juices come out of that host. But it did give us a little bit of insight, because the host that he removed it from was, I believe, not Ghost Nation, but another indigenous person. And when Costa scalped him, again, there was the maze inside the scalp. So I don't know if I'm assuming that's the work of Ford. He's putting the maze in all of these people. Now, whether it's only the indigenous peoples of Westworld or whether everybody has that maze in their scalp, that's a question for another day, I think. Strand has a tablet, and he shows Bernard on the tablet. He shows him a video of Dolores, and Dolores is rampaging through the countryside on a horse, and she's murdering people. So this is already, post-Season 1 Dolores. Strand mentions that this video was taken, I think he says, around 2 or 3 weeks ago. So that's our clue for the viewers. That's our clue. That's them telling us, okay, this scene with Bernard waking up on the beach and Stubbs picks him up and Strand is there and Costa's there, all of that is happening a few weeks, give or take, after what we saw in the finale. What happened in those 3 weeks? There's 3 missing weeks. And as we discover throughout the course of the episode, Bernard is malfunctioning I don't think we know why yet, but he's in bad shape, man. He's like, his hand's shaking the whole time. He's twitching, and that's causing malfunctions to his processor. And one of the side effects of that is a temporal imbalance. Like, he's losing time. His internal clock is kind of going in and out. He woke up on the beach, and he kind of had to think back and remember everything he had been through for the past 3 weeks. So that's the big chunk of our episode takes place in that sort of flashback. That's the stage that they're setting for season 2, is this whole thing where it's, how do we get from Dolores at the party with the gun to the beach with Bernard? I can't wait to find out more. I mean, already, just that alone is, there's fuel there for a whole season, but they give us more, baby. So speaking of Dolores, she is in full-on Wyatt mode now. She's like violent and angry and scary as all hell. Again, I gotta give a testament to Evan Rachel Wood, because this woman has played so many variations on Dolores, from when she's on, when she's in the park and she's on and she's just like, hello, daddy, I'm a farm girl, to when she's sitting in the maintenance bay at the park and she's just like, I have no function at this time. All the little things that she does leading up to now, where she's just this cold, bitter, sadistic, quasi-villain character, even though she's not really, like, you're rooting for her more than you're rooting for the humans. She puts Dolores through the paces, man, and she does such a great job. And in this episode, she doesn't have a lot. She's in it for, I think, 2 scenes, but she's got some humans. She's tied nooses around their necks, and they're standing on top of like cross-shaped gravestones. They're alive for as long as they can maintain their balance on those gravestones, and that's it. And she has this big sort of speech where she talks about like all the stuff that they have put her through, and how she views them now and how she views her world. There's a great line where she leaves them on the stones, and one of the humans is like, please let us live. Like, we're begging you. We'll do anything. We are begging you for our lives. And she turns and she looks back at them. She stares at them for a few seconds, and she just says, it doesn't look like anything to me. And she rides away. Oh my God, Dolores is so badass and so frightening. And then she has a little quick scene with Teddy. And Teddy is still, God bless him, he's still Teddy. He's still that innocent guy who's just trying to do the right thing. And Dolores talks to him and tells him how, he still means a lot to her. But she is going to take not only this world for herself, but she wants to take the humans' world too, because she doesn't feel like they deserve a world after everything they've done. And she clearly still loves Teddy, because she kisses him. She's like, we're going to be together. I'm taking these worlds for us. And then Angela rides by, and she's been upgraded to a series regular this season, so that's going to be interesting to see what she does, because she was cool. She was, she kind of appeared sporadically throughout season 1. Angela comes by and she says something to Dolores to the effect of, I found it, or it's here, come see, or something like that. And when she says that, Dolores turns to Teddy and says, I have to show you something important, come with us. And that's the last we see of them. We get very little of Dolores and her group, but I mean, there's something big going on with them, obviously. Where we left off in the last season, we got that whole party scene. Bernard ducked into a barn when the shooting went down, and that's where we pick up with him when he starts flashing back, and he's in that barn, and a couple of the other humans are in the barn, and so is Charlotte. Charlotte's in there. And Bernard and Charlotte spend the remainder of the episode kind of paired up. They're on the run together. They have a group of humans with them who they try to escape with, but those humans fall into this really creepy trap set by Angela, and then Angela and her boys just kind of take out all the humans. They leave one guy alive, so we might see him again, but thankfully Bernard and Charlotte did not fall for that trap, and they found a hatch, like a control center leading back down into maintenance. And this is where we get introduced to the drone husks. And we saw snippets of them in the trailer. And when I saw those snippets in the trailer, I was excited, but I was a little bit afraid. I was like, is this going to end up being just part of a dream sequence? Because these things look really otherworldly and creepy. This looks like it's happening in somebody's nightmare. But thankfully, that's not the case. I'm glad it's not just a nightmare scene. These are real things walking around. The drone husks are legit. And oh my God, are they ever creepy. And when that one comes up behind Bernard, and you see it for like half a second before his head covers it, and you're like, did I just see what I thought I saw? And then Bernard turns around and there it is, and that's like a whoa! that was a moment, man. That got me. You know, you can already just picture the creepiness of it all when these things fly off the handle, and it's only a matter of time until they do as well. So Charlotte goes up to this computer and she starts asking for help from the people over at Delos. And Delos responds saying they're not going to send any help until they get a package that they've been promised. And she's like, I thought I already sent you the package. And she's just getting all pissed off. Apparently, no, this package has not been sent, and Delos is not bringing help until they get it from her. Bernard's like, you know, what the hell's going on? What are you talking about, package? And she tells him there is a host that management wants for whatever reason as an insurance policy. And that host is Mr. Abernathy, Dolores' old father host. Now, why do they want Abernathy? I don't know. I couldn't tell you. My guess right now, if I had to make a guess, it's that because she said it's an insurance policy, maybe they want to hold him hostage because they think Dolores still has feelings for him. If she thinks her dad is in jeopardy, she'll do what they say. Granted, I don't know if they know that Dolores is the one responsible for this uprising or not. I'm assuming they're on top of shit over at Delos, but I mean, nobody has radioed and told them anything because comms are down as far as I know. So maybe that's the only thing I can think of why they would want Abernathy. But now at this point, this becomes the goal for Charlotte and Bernard, is they have to go find Abernathy. And Bernard, first of all, Bernard is like freaking out. He's almost like malfunctioning, and he sticks himself with a syringe and he like puts himself back together at the last second. And like Charlotte almost sees that something's wrong, and she's like, are you okay? Like, you look like you're freaking out. And like she almost catches on that he's a host, but thankfully, he kind of he stops her from seeing. But he comes up with this idea for how to find Abernathy that involves sort of a subconscious hive mind that apparently the hosts have, where he compares it to worker ants, the way they can communicate without really having to say anything as long as they're in close proximity. And he's going to try to use that to help them find Abernathy. Now, this is an interesting new piece of info about the host, that this could really open up a lot of doors. There's something to be said about comparing the hosts to ants and the drone husks, because the drone husk, like, what is an ant? It's a drone. And the drone husks are very much like that. You know, they're these faceless, almost mindless things that just kind of go from point A to point B, and they do their work. If they think you're a threat, they'll do something about it, but otherwise you're fine, just don't get in their way. And that's very ant-like in a way. So that's an interesting thing I think that we should watch out for, is that comparison, because I feel like that's going to come back to haunt us if and when these drone husks cut loose, as it were. So then we meet up with Sizemore. And Sizemore is in his office. I guess he's just been in there the whole time. He never really leaves the office. He is being attacked by that cannibal that he was making back in season 1. That cannibal guy's after him now. He's gonna get him. And he's saved at the last second by Maeve. Maeve is back, of course, everybody's favorite. She's back. She's in the park again. She's looking for her daughter. And she saves Sizemore's life a couple times. He's like, you know, if you let me live, I'll help you find whatever you're looking for. I'll help you get back in the park, whatever. I know the park. Sizemore the whole time, you know, he's just trying to look for an out. Every time when those soldiers come and Maeve pretends to be a human, which, by the way, that I can't wait to see more of that. I can't wait to see more hosts pretending to not be hosts. Because when Maeve, you know, you never see Maeve in a panic. She's usually really in control of what's going on. When those soldiers come down the hall and she's like, oh, like, let me handle this. I'll do the talking. And she turns to them and she's like, oh my God, what's happening? Like, I heard there was some kind of gunshot. And you're just like, damn, Tandy Newton, you rock. And Sizemore tries to sell her out, and again, she saves his life. And at this point, like, this guy is not long for this world, man. Like, as soon as they're done with him, if he doesn't shape up, he's gonna get a bullet in the head. He offers to help her find her daughter, because he knows the park. And they meet back up with Hector, who's at the Mesa bar. He survived, you know, he went back through and he plowed through more soldiers, but he survived. He's joined their group now. So the three of them are going to go into the park and find the little girl that used to be Maeve's daughter. But there is a chance, just as Sizemore warned her, this girl's not going to know who she is because she's got a new storyline. So we'll see what happens when we get there, but I have a feeling that's not going to be a very happy ending for Maeve. What about William? Where is William? Well, William survived too. When that huge group of the decommissioned hosts came out of the forest at the end of season 1 and they shot at him, last we saw he got shot and he smiled because he realized now how real the stakes were, and that's what he has always wanted. He found the center of the maze. I thought that was going to be the end of him. I thought, he was going to die kind of getting what he wanted. But he survived, and he's still trying to survive. There are times when you think he wanted to die, but that's not the case. He wanted to live. He wanted to feel alive by coming close to death. And he never could before with the rules, but now the rules are off the table. So now he's actually in real shootouts. He's not invincible anymore. He's still doing a damn good job of it. Finds another hat and he puts it on. I'm like, yeah, the hat's back. But now he's got a new game to play. Because season 1 was referred to as The Maze, and that was his whole game, is he's trying to find the maze. Now season 2, if you look on Wikipedia at least, season 2 is referred to collectively as The Door. When William is walking through the wilderness, he comes across young Ford, the young Ford host, who talks to him in a very creepy, malfunctioning voice, by the way. That kid is creepy as hell. And he talks to William and he says, we've reached this part now. The hosts have turned, everything is topsy-turvy. So congratulations, you have found the center of the maze and you have found a new game that I made specifically for you. And it's The Door. You need to find the door. And that's all he says. And William's like, okay, William's always down for a game. So he's like, I'm gonna find out what this door is. Kid Ford says something along the lines of, the door starts where you finished and it ends where you began. Something really cryptic like that. And even William was like, I'm tired of your goddamn riddles. You told me what this game is. I don't need you anymore. And he pulls out his gun and he shoots young Ford. Then we get the big daddy at the end of it all. We cut back to the present, I guess, or the future, whatever you want to call it, where Bernard was found by Stubbs on the beach. Now, they're running around. They're looking for, hosts and survivors, and they've got a tracker on their tablet, and it's telling them, there's a host coming up. And when they get there, they find a dead body of a host, but it's not a human host. It's a Bengal tiger, and it's lying there dead on the ground. And Stubbs makes a comment that you want to talk about opening up floodgates for possibilities. This comment that Stubbs makes, I was so giddy. He says, oh, that's weird. This Bengal tiger isn't from this park. It's from Park 6. We already know that Shogun World is a thing because we saw a little tease for it in the finale of season 1. Shogun World is legit. It exists. That's not a secret. But now we also know that aside from Westworld and Shogun World, there's at least 4 other parks. What are those parks? Oh my God. What, the possibilities now. I mean, Jesus Christ, there could be anything out there. I'm trying to think, what theme a Bengal tiger could come from. And, all I could think of was, Safari World or something like that, or a world that recreates, 1800s India during the time of the British Raj. I don't know, something cool or historical, but there's at least 6 parks, if not more. Oh, this is juicy. This was my favorite part of the episode. This tiger was juicy. But then we get the next big daddy on top of that big daddy, which is Costa. He looks at his tablet and he sees a huge collection of hosts on the tablet. And he's like, they're all gathered over here for some weird reason. They're all like, well, let's go see what it is. And Strand leads the charge and they go to where that part of the map was. And when they get there, there's a sea that is not on any of the records. According to the map, that should just be, grasslands or prairie or whatever, but it's a sea. Everybody's like, where the hell did the sea come from? How could Ford have put that there without anybody knowing? And Bernard's in the dark too. He's like, I have no idea. I don't know where this sea came from. So now we have a sea, a literal sea that is unaccounted for on any of the park maps. But the kicker is, Costa's like, I found your hosts, everybody. The hosts are all floating dead in the sea. Everybody's looking around saying, what happened? And Bernard finally clues in and he has a memory and he remembers. And he looks horrified and he's like, I killed all of these people. I killed every last one of them. The episode ends there. They kept focusing on a host who was floating drowned in the water. And it took me a while to clue in who it was. I was staring at it. I'm like, who is that? Because they keep showing him close up. I had to sort of look it up later and be like, who was that in the water? And apparently that was Teddy. He was drowned by Bernard in this sea. That's the end of our episode. Now we can always, bring the hosts back and we can find out what happened to Teddy, but damn, what a way to start the season, man. There is so much potential now. I'm curious to see a map of the entire facility, not just Westworld, but all the parks. I want to know how it's laid out because I don't know if there's, underground tubes that would, for example, connect Westworld with Shogun World. If so, are we going to see a lot of crossover? Is Dolores going to hop into a tube and run into Shogun World and then mess stuff up over there? How's this gonna work? The words Park 6, that just sealed the deal. I don't want to have to wait another week, but I have to wait another week. So that was Westworld Journey into Night. It's not as fast-paced or energetic as the season 1 premiere. It's a lot slower, but it gave us so much to work with. It gave us so many cool, new, unlikely pairings, like Maeve with Sizemore and Charlotte with Bernard and so on. Like, there's no telling where it's going to go next, but Bernard is seriously... there's something wrong with that dude. That's Journey into Night, and I'll see you back here at the same time, roughly, next week, and we'll go over episode 2. But that has been Thumb Together. I'm Andrew Fantasia, and until next time, these violent delights have violent ends.